Okay, welcome to another Sunday and lesson number 9. If you've already seen it, I've uploaded the backing tracks for this lesson, and we're going to start off by playing an A, B, and C. Now let's talk about how we're gonna approach this, and I'm gonna tell you about the two different types of soloing we're gonna do in this course. The first one is specific, and the second one is general, or I should say it the other way around, general and specific. And today we're going to be working on general soloing, and it doesn't give you the versatility and the spice that the specific soloing does, but for what we're trying to do, it's perfect. So when I say general soloing, what I mean is when we're playing in the key of A, say the backing track in A, you can play the whole song, your solo, in the A key. So all your patterns, pattern 1, pattern 2, and pattern 3. You just stay in those patterns. So even though the band is changing chords, you can just play in A. And that's why it's important to know what key a song is in. So if you were going to try to just do an impromptu jam on a song that you didn't know and you wanted to do some soloing, you'd need to know the key, because if it's in D, you could just use the D pattern. So when the band changes chords, just keep playing in the A patterns. Now, it will work, but there are some notes that if you stop and pause on, they're not going to sound so good. But you can play them, as you're playing, but the ones that you rest on, there's only specific notes. And we won't get into that, because the point of this whole thing is to start moving around in your patterns, combining pattern 1, 2, and 3. I call it noodling. I don't really call it soloing, because a solo to me is something where I sit down, I have a specific song, and I'm trying to create a solo that's going to support the song, the emotion of the song, the story. And so I gotta assemble that thing. Just to do it on the fly usually doesn't work. You can hit a lot of notes, but that's not what soloing is to me. Soloing is your ukulele speaking and singing the song. So we're noodling, and noodling's good. So as we play, and there's two versions on these backing tracks. One is with me giving cues, meaning when the chord changes, and we're going to use these next week, because next week we're going to be doing specific soloing, and it's going to sound a lot better. Okay, so let's just get into A, and I'm going to hit it, and I'll kind of tell you what I'm doing. I'll just tell you that I'm switching patterns, and I'm just going to be hitting random notes in those patterns. I'm not worried about really what it sounds like. I just want to be able to switch between pattern 1, 2, and 3. Now, you can take a look at your sheets, and I'm going to put them in in the description for lessons 6 and 7. And on lesson 6, it has the first two patterns, and then lesson 7 is the third pattern. So if you need to study up on them, we're doing A, B, and C. So you can use these to get yourself familiar. I hope you don't need them, because we've really been going pretty slow and working our way through them. But if you do, you have them. Just grab the pages from lesson 6, lesson 7. All right, so let's get started with the key of A backing track. Here we go. I'm going to be starting in pattern 3. Now I'm going to go to pattern 1. Let's try some pattern 2. There's my A. Stay in 2. 2, find that A right here. Pattern 1. Pattern number 2 or 3. Stay in 3. Let's do some high. Pattern 1. Whoops. Okay, so I hit a wrong note there. I got myself together, and there you go. So that's just noodling. There's really nothing that sounds connected to it. But the point is I was moving between the patterns, you know, and playing each one. So go ahead and practice that with the A. And like I say, just stay in A. We're doing general soloing. Let's move on to B, the backing track in B. My eyes. All right, here we go. This one I think is a little faster. Okay, good. Find your B. I'm gonna start in pattern 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 2. Pattern 3. Now go to pattern 1. Go to pattern number 3. Number 2. Just kind of move to 3. Pattern number 1. There we go. So played it in C. Now, so what you can do, a trick that you can do is as it's going along and you're playing, let's just back this one up and go through what you can, the kind of thought process you can do. You know, you can, so you know your chords, and this is the, for pattern 2 and 3, you know your roots. So when you want to go to pattern number 1, find that root, and then when you want to go to pattern 3, find that root on the fret 4, just like you know. Then go to pattern 2. To 3. To number 1, but I find the roots. Okay, got my root and I want to play 3. Now I want to play 1, I find the root. And those pauses are okay, you know, because it kind of lets the thing breathe a little bit, so you can find it. That's the whole point of it, is you don't have to mash a whole bunch of stuff together non-stop. You can just play, take your time, find your root, and then noodle around with pattern 1 or pattern 2 or pattern 3. Now what I would be doing is kind of telling yourself, oh, I want to, this is C now, so there's pattern 1. Pattern 2 is going to be right there too. So, and we know our root is fret number 1 on the B string and fret 5 on the G string and fret 8 on the E string. So find your roots. Be like, oh, I'm going to find my root here on the G string. Now I have pattern 2 right here, or pattern 3, and then be like, okay, I'm going to play pattern number 2 or number 3. Now on this one, remember our last exercise, we were doing we were using the 2 bottom strings to slide up and down. I'm going to do a little of that and just horse around with it. But let's start off. This is in C. It's country. That's pattern 3. Pattern 2. Pattern number 3. Now I want to switch to 1 now. To 2. That was 3. To 2. To 1. And then let's go back to 2. Up to 3. To 2. To 1. But let's find our roots. Here's 5. To 2. Okay, good. So that's just what you're going to do, is you're going to take those backing tracks and you're just going to put them on and really focus on being really knowing what you're doing and in control and not just kind of guessing. So when you're in C, and you want to play pattern 1, find that note, that C note, and really get it in your head. Okay, I can visualize pattern 1 now. And play around with that a little bit. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Just 1 or 2 notes or whatever you want to do. And then when you like, well, I want to change now. So there's my C note, or there on my 8th fret, The 8th fret is the end of pattern number 3, and maybe you want to go there, but okay, here's pattern 3, and you want to start up high. You can do that, but this is the reason why we've been very kept the same thought process, is 1 note, 1 chord, 1 pattern. And if you've kept doing that through this whole thing, now when things are starting to move a little quicker and you're having to play along with a band, you can use that same foundation that you built and be like, I don't gotta worry. I know right where my root is. Oh, I want to go up here. And it should be, we've been taking it very slow on purpose, and we're going to keep taking it very slow. That's why we're doing general soloing this week with A, B, and C. Now, when I was playing, there was some times when it just didn't sound quite right. It sounded okay, but not great. That's because we're doing general soloing. So the band was probably, in G, and we were still playing the C patterns, which fits, but it doesn't fit great. We'll get into specific soloing with these 3 keys next week. So you have what you need. Blairitone players, I'm going to be showing some techniques in our group. Just different things that I think sound good that you can start noodling around in and playing. But I don't want these videos to take too long. So if you have any questions, just ask me. But take your time, enjoy the process, and have fun with it. Don't worry if it's not sounding like a solo. It's sounding more like, a mess of spaghetti noodles getting mixed up, because that's kind of what we're doing right now. This is just one step further. Before, all the other lessons, we were doing specific things, you know, do this exercise in this way. And now we're kind of opening the corral and letting the horses run, and they're getting out and they have more freedom. And so that's what's happening here. So don't get too frustrated if it's not sounding good. Just make sure you're playing the patterns within those keys. All right. Have a good week. I'll see you next Sunday. And until then, keep on playing.